you can depend on.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. This is Business Express. It's Zibi here, and it's 6:33 a.m. As always, we're talking about business, the economy, and everything related. Rotis is here with me this morning. Good morning, Rotis, and welcome.
Good morning, Zibi. Good morning, Omas. Good morning to all our folks out there. Good to be with you all, and welcome to a new week.
Hopefully, a better one.
Yeah, we've had
All
some
right.
tough weeks.
Would love for you to be a part of the conversation, so let us know your thoughts. WhatsApp number 0809 444 981. You can also tweet at Smooth981, and we're streaming live on our YouTube channel as well. It's Smooth981. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. And this morning, we are talking about the president re-elected ECOWAS chairman. Roses, what's the summary of the meeting in Abuja?
Yeah, so we had the 65th meeting of the heads of states of the economic region of West African states. President Tinubu was appointed chair last year. His tenure came to an end yesterday and was basically re-elected. And they essentially said it was because they wanted, continuity for the economic region, and also basically to put up, continue the mission to try to bring Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso back into the fold. Remember, I think they withdrew back in January. They also had their own meeting, this alliance of the Sahel states, this AES or whatever they call it, where the three of them basically, renewed their ties following that treaty that they signed in order to strengthen their respective militaries. They called ECOWAS a threat to their own existence. And so this is happening against that backdrop. So President Tinubu appointed the new president of Senegal, President Faye, the youngest, I think it's 43, 44, youngest president on the African continent. Him and the president of Togo, is it Nasibe or Nisibe, as special envoys to Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger in order to continue negotiations amongst them. There are sanctions that are existing. It doesn't look like the sanctions have worked. They're still very defiant. He also talked about, maintaining, that's President Tinubu, for the region to maintain financial commitments in order to quell insecurity in the region. We know that insecurity, of course, has a major impact on economic development because of, things like farmers not being able to go to farms and what that means for food prices and so on and so forth. And then I guess he also called for innovation with respect to regional economic development. But there was no word on the eco currency, which is supposed to be that regional currency. I think it's because they need a lot of these other states, the Malis, Burkina Fasos, and other states in order to get that going. So that was basically the gist of it. But I suppose the president wants to try and get those three rogue nations back in line because, they left under his tenure as chair of ECOWAS. So it's been a bit chaotic. So that was basically it.
Is there any headway expected, though, from potential dealings with the envoys and Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso?
Well, I mean, to be frank, I haven't really seen much improvement. These nations, tough love is what is required in order to show these nations that there are consequences for basically, military juntas overthrowing democracies and so on. These are not the wealthiest nations. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Niger in particular, I think, has the highest per capita birth rates in the world and is one of the poorest nations in the world at the same time. So the economies of these nations, they're really poor. Things are not moving forward. And yet, ECOWAS was not able to exert a lot of pressure on the new junta. So we'll see if the new Senegalese president and the president of Togo can make any impact. But nothing's really happened since in a whole full year. And then for them to be able to get together, I think this past weekend, I think it was Saturday when they got together and reaffirm this new treaty that they signed amongst the three of themselves. To do that the same weekend that ECOWAS was meeting, again, it's thrusting their fists in the face of the regional bloc. So
Right.
you have to be optimistic, but if nothing has happened over a full year, I don't know what this new envoy with these two presidents is going to change going forward.
All right. Let's talk about insecurity. What kind of commitments would be needed to boost the fight against insecurity in the region?
Well, the president was talking about financial commitments, saying that Nigeria would lead the way. Basically, if you're a bloc, all of you put money into a pot and you just try to, assist each other when it comes to your respective militaries. But then, I mean, the irony of that is that you've got three nations whose militaries, ended up, carrying out coups and breaking away. So, I mean, there's that, but then that's on the coup side. They're more looking at regional security that can basically quell insurgents and terrorists and so on and so forth. Are we really making headway there? We're still, seeing issues that pop up here and there, maybe not as much as in the past, but I think it's technology, whatever it is that they're trying to put money together for. You've got to invest more, I guess, in drones, and you've got to be better at sharing intelligence, between each other. And, there's got to be more done with respect to them being able to thwart attacks before they happen. We're having our own issues with the NIA and stuff here. You have to be able to trace phone calls from people that kidnap others and so on and so forth. So it's basically financial commitment. That is what he was calling for.
Well, it's Business Express on the Smooth Breakfast this morning. We're talking about the president re-elected as ECOWAS chairman. Rotis, we understand that the president called for innovation in order to boost economic development. How is this going to work, or what's the roadmap or the plan?
Yeah, that one. I mean, I think it was just he was ticking stuff off a list. The innovation part, if when have you heard of anything new from the region where one particular country, they announced some new innovation that is going to be exported to other countries and bring in foreign exchange that changes things? You're not really hearing much of that. And that's because, as far as the amount of money needed for research and development, not really seeing it. So I guess he was just talking in general terms, saying, listen, if you want your economies to develop, well, you've got to be innovative. I mean, you look at what's coming out of other countries, like the whole wave with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence and the stuff that you're hearing from other parts of the world. Look at what China is doing with electric vehicles, to the point to where the European Union and Americans are slapping tariffs on them to try to, so that's, you're seeing innovation to where the Chinese are making cheaper electric cars. They are dominating the electric vehicle space. They are exporting their vehicles everywhere. Then you've got the stuff coming out of Silicon Valley with the new updates to AI, and the fact that, OpenAI, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Tencent, ByteDance, Alibaba, these are the companies that are leading the way. That's innovation. When we talk about innovation, that's the kind of stuff we talk about. From ECOWAS, not really much. So he was just talking in general terms, saying, hey, be innovative and boost your economy. Just the kind of stuff you say when you've been re-elected chairman of a bloc, just to sound, make it sound good. But that's it.
Okay. Is there any new information on the eco currency?
Nothing. Again, I don't know if we'll see that happen well, maybe we'll see it in our lifetimes. I really do want to see if that can take place, because that will solve a lot of issues for us, to be able to just not have to change money, change your naira. If you're traveling to Senegal or somewhere else, to where you have to change your naira to dollars and then take your dollars into that new country and then now change it to their own local country. And then if you have change left in your pockets, you bring it back to Nigeria. You can't do anything with it. I remember I was traveling to Kigali and earlier this year, and this lady at the airport, the immigration lady was like, "Oh, you're going to Kigali? Hey, take. I brought this money back from there. I have absolutely no use for it. Please take it with you." And I was like, "Are you serious?" Yeah. She was like, "Yeah, just I have nothing to do
Oh,
with it. Take it."
wow.
Yeah, and just I mean, it wasn't much, but I mean, it was something, So
Right.
the ECHO would solve all those
It's usually
problems.
the
You had
other
a
way
regional,
around.
yeah, exactly. The ECHO, if you had a regional currency, it will boost trade. That's the reason why we have PAPS, which is still coming on stream. That's the Pan-African Payment Settlement System from the Afro-Exim Bank, where if you, Zibi, are in Mali, or let me not use Mali, if you are in Senegal or something, and I'm here in Lagos, I can pay my naira into PAPS, and you will collect your own local currency on the other side. They're trying to do all these things to boost trade. So if you had a region, but the issue with the regional currency is that you know, you've got to have certain metrics in place. Low inflation, you lose your independence as a central bank. So there's so many things. We're a long way from that echo currency getting its footing.
All right, let's look at some of the messages coming through. Ben says an African president slashed his salary by 40%. That can be exported to other countries, I think. Gilbert Musa says since its formation in 1975, ECOWAS achieved major economic growth in Africa, but slowed down from 2010 till date. ECOWAS has not curbed the crisis in Mali till date. I don't know if we can do this in just under a minute. Let's move on to food because I mean it is very important. Alhaji Isa Aliyu, president of the NOPMAN, which is the National Onion Producers, Processors, and Marketers Association of Nigeria, also a member of the Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria, had a very interesting talk. So I'm just going to let you tell us the gist of what he said in this interview.
Yeah, real quick, you were just saying that, look, if we don't solve the food crisis, food insecurity crisis in Nigeria, there's going to be anarchy. We're in July, which is a year since President Tinubu declared food insecurity crisis in the country. We haven't really seen much food inflation above 40%. A number of asset managers are saying that it will probably peak because of base effect. So we'll see what happens. That's year-on-year inflation because we're seeing month-on-month inflation decelerate. But, he's saying something that has been said before. You've got to, basically, as a solution, import more food into the nation in order to address this supply issue that we have right now. And over the long term, improve yields per hectare for farming, which now ties back to the insecurity thing discussed at ECOWAS yesterday. So it's all linked. You got to do something about the food situation in the country because the prices are crazy and the supply is low.
I bought, I don't know, it's what you call a head of plantain, right? A few bunches. It was 16,000. I literally almost fainted.
It's
But
nuts.
I bought
It's
it
absolutely
anyways.
nuts. Eggs, a crate of eggs is almost 5,005 now. Something I used to buy for under 800 naira years ago. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Wow. Might be time to start, growing my own food
Right.
bit by bit.
Exactly. I
Let's see the
agree.
messages coming through. Fine Oluboroko says, I don't think our past and present governments are truly committed in curbing insecurity because if they were, they would have been using spy and attack drones to wipe out these terrorists as they roll out to attack farmers. Tayo says our version of innovation is probably POS. The eco currency might put the naira at a disadvantage. POP seems to be a better option to making money. I need to meet Reuters by the airport flight for his chain. Zini has too much money. Do I? Dio says, you can see what transpired in the UK elections. It's free and fair, no vote buying or Agbero intimidation. It's a long message, but yeah, we get what you're saying. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for listening. And thank you, Rotas. Always a nice session when we have you on.
Thanks, Zibi. Thank you, everybody, for your messages. I promise I'm going to try and do better. Just so many things happening, but I do try and make sure that I catch up with you guys again on the show. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Rotas. That is it for Business Express. Do stay with us. There is a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.